That was a great game by the Phillies right there. I'll give it to them. I'll give it to them right there. That was an amazing game by the Philadelphia Phillies offensively and on the pitching mound from Aaron Nola. It was just an amazing game throughout. And yeah, I'm still from this game. I was flipping through the Stanley Cup final, and I was flipping through this game, but I kind of got the luck. Well, not kind of the luck. I kind of got unlucky with this game being put in a rain delay for at least an hour and a half. The game didn't start really till like 8:40, 8:45, and the finals were started at 8 o'clock, so I was basically flipping back and forth between Stanley Cup final and Philadelphia Phillies versus the St. Louis Cardinals. But when finals are over, the St. Louis Blues won. I was able to watch the rest of the Phillies game, and the Phillies just an amazing game. I'll give it to them. That was a great ball game. They take the series from the St. Louis Cardinals. Actually, I was going to say St. Louis Blues, but it's the St. Louis Cardinals. They win the first 2 games out of this 3-game series. They win this game by a score of 11-4, and just throughout the lineup, offensive production, the entire lineup stepped up. And especially out of the lineup, Aaron Nola had a phenomenal game. This was probably, besides the game against the Colorado Rockies, this was one of his best starts of the season. And it only looks like it is going to get better from here as he gets his 6th win on the season, as he is 6-0, with a ERA of at least, I think, a little over 4. But he's 6-0 nonetheless, so he's starting to get better. We're starting to see the Aaron Nola of last year, who was 3rd in voting of the wild card for the Cy Young for the National League, not the wild card. But like I said, just phenomenal game throughout, and just like I said, the entire offense just contributed. Early in this ball game, Cesar Hernandez, bases loaded, he gets a 2-run single, drives in a 2 runs, makes it 2-0 Phillies. And then Bryce Harper in the bottom of the 3rd inning hits a opposite field home run where the pitcher thought it was going to be a pop fly, but the ball just kept carrying, and it landed in the first row of the left center field seats. And the Phillies just continued to pile on the runs against the St. Louis Cardinals, driving their starter off the mound, making the Cardinals put in Michael Wacha on the mound, and they just literally, they pummeled Wacha too. They pummeled this entire pitching staff from the St. Louis Cardinals. Bryce Harper, he gets a double, which probably should have been a single, but the outfield of the Cardinals, they just lackadaisically just played that ball and allowed Bryce Harper to get a single, turn that single into a double. As already early in this ball game, Bryce Harper has 4 RBIs, and it looks like he's starting to get hot. He's starting to get out of that slump that he was in since probably mid to end of April. It looks like he is starting to get out of that slump, which is deadly for the rest of the National League. It is deadly for the rest of baseball, actually, because if Bryce Harper starts waking up, I pray for every other team, because this Phillies offense might be deadly the rest of the way, as much as he can probably carry them, as much he could probably spark the rest of this offense, because Bryce Harper getting hot, that is a scary sight to see for every other team in baseball. So I pray for everyone else. So also, bottom of the 6th was just Phillies just hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Scott Kingery with a 2-run home run. Michael Franco goes back-to-back with Scott Kingery. Aaron Nola, he works a walk, and then Andrew McCutchen right after. He hit the 2-run dinger to the left field. The Phillies are just piling on the runs as they go, as they make it 11-1 right there. And it's just, that was a ball game right there. The Cardinals do manage to tackle on 4 runs. They get a home run off Aaron Nola. Then Juan Nicasio comes into this ball game. He allows 3 runs, but then J.D. DeHammer comes into the 9th inning and seals the door. He closes out this ball game. The Phillies win at 11-4. The Cardinals had no business of this ball game. They just didn't look. The pitching was just flat out awful. The Phillies just dominated throughout this entire ball game. The Cardinals with a couple of mishaps in the outfield, like the one letting Bryce Harper get a double on what should have been a single, and some just miscues in the outfield of easy fly balls that they probably should catch. Like a ball in right field, they were afraid they were going to hit the wall in foul territory, so he doesn't catch that foul ball. Just simple mental mistakes that the Cardinals were making in the outfield was also probably one of the main reasons the Phillies were able to tack on so many runs. So, like I said, other stat lines in this ball game. Like I said, Bryce Harper, he gets 4 RBIs. He goes 3 for 4 with a single, a double, and a home run. He was a triple shy of the cycle. which, if he got that cycle, would have been amazing. Because I am texting back and forth with one of my buddies throughout this entire ball game as I am watching the finals and watching this. Because I missed this Bryce Harper home run and I was mad. I was pissed off that I missed it because every time Bryce Harper hits a home run, I miss it. And every time I'm watching the game, I'm dead set locking on Bryce Harper hitting a home run. He doesn't do anything. And every time I watch something else, he goes deep and I miss it and I get pissed. Especially with the back-to-back home runs from Scott Kingery and Michael Franco. I missed it because I was watching the St. Louis Blues versus the Boston Bruins. Same thing with the McCutchen home run. I missed all of those home runs and I was upset. But I managed to watch the highlights from those home runs on Instagram, and I managed to watch the rest of this ball game from the 7th inning on because I kept flip-flopping between the finals and this game. That's why I really hated the rain delay, because this game probably would have been over by the time the second period started, but I don't care. The Phillies won. They took 2 games out of the series. They have won 9 of their last 12, which is really good. The Phillies are starting to get hot at the right time. And it's also a good sign that the Atlanta Braves, they lost their first 2 games of the series against the Washington Nationals. They absolutely got crushed today. I think they lost 14-4. So I think the Phillies lead in the National League East. I think it's at least 2.5 games to 3 games. I am not totally sure on that right now. Actually, let's take a look at that right now. The NL East standings for the National League East. I want to see this right now. What's the Braves? They are currently right now 3 games back of the Phillies right now from that loss against the Washington Nationals. So that is a good sign right there. The Phillies are starting to get hot at the right time, and the Braves are losing a game. They're losing a series that they really shouldn't lose because the Nationals suck. So, and just other stat lines from this ball game. Aaron Nola, like I said, he was phenomenal in this ball game. He goes 7 innings strong, allows 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned actually, walks 3, strikes out 8, and allows the 1 home run. Really brilliant performance by Aaron Nola. Like I said, he is starting to get back into that ace form that we all know and love. And Juan Nicasio, he comes in, he allows the 3 runs, and like I said earlier, JD Hammer comes in and shuts the door. And yeah, from this ball game, the Phillies are again 10 games above 500. They are 33-22, and we got a afternoon ball game tomorrow. Nick Pivetta is not Nick Pivetta. Oh God, not Nick Pivetta. Jared Eichhoff is on the mound tomorrow. For some reason I thought Nick Pivetta, and I scared myself. So Jared Eichhoff is on the mound tomorrow for the Phillies, an afternoon ball game tomorrow. And with these 2 rain delays, I expect the lineup to look a little bit different. Some players getting a day off because of the game starting at 8:40 tonight. So some players might get the day off to rest just because of that short time lap in games. So we might see players like Andrew Knapp get some time. We might see Nick Williams. We might see Goslin. We might see Rodriguez. Who knows? Who knows what Gabe Kapler's going to put in the lineup tomorrow. But it's probably going to be a good one. So what are your guys' thoughts on this ball game? What are your guys' thoughts on the Phillies' stretch of wins right now? What are your thoughts on the offense right now? Because the offense is really starting to heat up, and I am loving it right now. Especially Bryce Harper. He is starting to get out of that slump. He is starting to become dangerous, and like I said, when a Bryce Harper becomes dangerous, that is a scary sight to see for the rest of baseball. And not only Bryce Harper being dangerous, the rest of this lineup is dangerous right now. Especially Andrew McCutchen and Rhys Hoskins, JT, and Gene Segura. This is one of the best lineups in baseball when they are on their game. When everyone is clicking at the same time, this lineup is probably one of the best in the National League. So, what are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on this series so far? What are your thoughts on the hot streak from the Phillies? What are your thoughts on the hot streaks from the certain players on this team? So don't forget to drop a comment. Don't forget to leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, boys. And I will see you in the next one.